Hello there again, BookTube. Lola here and welcome back to my channel, Lola's Library. As you can see today, I'm going to be talking about Deathnote. I have all the black editions right behind me. I have finished all of the mangas now. I'm really excited about that. And I am now starting to watch the anime. So I'm really excited about that too. I'm only like 3 episodes in, maybe 4, so I'm not far in yet, but obviously I know what's going to happen and I just hope it lives up to the manga. So in volume 1, I know that each of these black editions have 2 volumes in, so I'm just going to go volume by volume and tell you the kind of things that I liked in the books. So volume 1, I've got them backwards here because you read it backwards as a manga. So the first one basically introduces Light as a character. It talks about him and his intelligence. He's a very intelligent boy at school. He's getting all the good grades. But then this notebook falls onto the sky outside of his classroom and then he goes to investigate to see what it is. And of course it is the Death Note, and he soon finds out that he can use it to kill people. And Light, in his ways, decides that killing criminals will be the best option to use this Death Note in the best way possible. He soon then finds out, after writing many names in the Death Note, that he has a Shinigami who has to haunt him whilst he owns the Death Note. And that Shinigami is called Ryuk, and he explains to Light the rules of using the Death Note, that he will have no soul, he won't go to heaven or hell if he uses it, which is kind of too late because he's already used the Death Note. And then we find out that the investigation team at the police station are starting to investigate these murders. So basically Light is using the TV to find out who these criminals are, and then he kills them by writing their name in the Death Note, and they are all dying of heart attack. So the police force now are suspecting somebody of doing a mass killing, somehow or some way causing all of these heart attacks and these criminals, and they're investigating with another investigator, a very secretive person called L, who is then shown in this book. So he is the second main character of the story, and then Light learns about this by hacking into his father's computer files and seeing that they are investigating the Kira case, because now the public have called the person who's killing all these people Kira, and basically that becomes the name of the Death Note user throughout the entire series. In the second volume, which is called Confluence, the first one was called Boredom, by the way, because Ryuk was bored, so that's why I took the Death Note down, to find out what would happen into the human world. Light finds out about an FBI agent called Ray Penber in volume 2, and Light gets him to kill his fellow FBI agents by writing their names on a piece of paper from the Death Note. And he's knowingly doing this. Light makes him do it without seeing Light at the same time, and then he writes his name down anyway and kills Ray. So then there's only 5 members of the NPA left, which is the Japanese National Police Agency, and then L, and they meet L. They've all met L now. Light isn't part of the team yet, so they are the only people who know what L looks like and they don't even know what his real name is. So then Light later on meets the fiance of this FBI agent, Namori Misora, and basically she's on her way to the police station and tells Light everything that he needs to know about what she's found out about him as Kira, and then he ends up killing her too. He gets her to commit suicide by writing her name in the Death Note and writing next to her name that she's going to die of suicide, and she kills herself. Later on, Al decides that all of his team, basically the police force, are under investigation of being Kira, and so he plants cameras inside all of their houses. They know about it as well, but Light, either way, very soon finds out about these cameras and gets Ryuk, his Shinigami, to find those cameras and point them all out to him. On to volume 3 of the series. It's called Hard Run, is the name of that volume. The cameras are soon removed after all suspicion is removed from the members of the police force. And because Light makes it look like he's just studying, where he's actually writing the names in the Death Note instead of studying, but he makes it look like that's what he's doing. And then Light and Elle meet finally when Light goes to university, when he's graduated school and moves into a university setting instead. Light doesn't yet know that this is Elle, but he soon finds out and they become friends. And Elle reveals that he suspects Light of being Kira. So Light is then forced to join the police force to prove his innocence and to show that he is in full support of finding and capturing Kira. And then all of a sudden a new Kira appears, second Kira, and she has the Shinigami eyes, and this basically means that this new Kira can see people's names just by looking at them. So this is a potential ally for Light later on in the story. So far that is the first 3 volumes, and they were absolutely wonderful. I really enjoyed the fact that Light is now part of the police force, investigating his own killings, which is amazing. And this is how the big parts of the story starts, where Light and Elle are part of the same team even though they're really against each other. They're sending each other messages and threatening one another that they're gonna win the battle basically. And yeah, so that's how it's going so far, and that's the part of the story that I really enjoyed, the fact that they're battling it out. So on to volume 4, which is also part of volume 2, the second part of the Black Edition. So basically what's got to happen now is that Light has got to go and meet the second Kira, but he's got to do it as part of the police force. So he's got to take another member with him to go and meet the second Kira. So they make up a meeting place and everything, but second Kira recognises Light straight away from the fact that she can't see when he's going to die, because Death Note users can't see when each other are going to die. So this other Kira stays out of sight, and she goes and meets him in person later on. So she goes over to his house and confesses everything, including her love for him. So Kira ends up in a secret relationship with the second Kira, whose name is Misa, however you want to pronounce it, because he can now use her for his own gain. Because she has the Shinigami eyes, she can see the people that he might want to kill and see their name, so he can use her for those purposes. And then later on in this part of the book, Misa is arrested of suspicion of being the second Kira, so she is confined, and then she has to actually give up the ownership of her Death Note. Her Shinigami is called Rem, and he has to kind of help Light in this whole situation. So Rem has to take the Death Note off her while she's being confined, so she loses all memory of being a Death Note holder, of killing people. Light is then imprisoned, and Elle thinks that Light is under Kira's control. Even Light thinks it, or puts off Three's thinking it, so that if he sees himself as being under Kira's control and confines himself and proves them wrong, he will get out of it eventually. It's all part of his plan for him to win and get control of all this. So that's the first 2 volumes, or the first 4 volumes rather. So going on to volume 5, that's called Whiteout. Volume 4 was called Love, by the way. So this part of the story, Light has been a week into his imprisonment now. He's been in prison for a while, and he finally decides to forfeit the ownership of the Death Note and loses all memory of his killings. But the murders are still happening, so they end up letting him out of confinement, and as well as Misa, but they keep Light handcuffed because they still kind of suspect him. Matsuda becomes Misa's manager because Misa is this big famous woman. It's to protect her and to keep an eye on her, basically, to make sure she's not doing all these things that they've been suspecting her of. So that is basically volume 5 of the Death Note series. So going into volume 6, which is called Give and Take, there is now 3 Kiras on the scene. And Al doesn't want this other Kira to be arrested until this new Kira's powers are discovered properly. And Misa investigates who this other Kira is. Light comes up with a plan that Matsuda is supposedly meant to reveal Kira on TV live, and Higuchi is then going to kill Matsuda, and that's basically they catch him in the act of writing his name in the Death Note, and before he can do it, the police force come in and arrest him for it. And then we move on to volume 7, which is called Zero. And Light regains memories of the Death Note, he gets his Death Note back, and Light then decides to rip a piece of the Death Note out and place it into his watch so that he's always got a piece on him. Light then gets Ryuk to put some fake rules in the Death Note. The rule of if you don't kill somebody in 13 days of owning the Death Note, then you will die in 13 days. And he also gets Misa to regain her memory. We go into a flashback and see Light planning to get his memories back basically, so he knows how he's going to get his memories back. And then we see the first appearance of Nia and Mello, because L has now died. Light has written his name in the Death Note. And so now we get the first appearance of Nia and Mello, who find out that L is dead. Now Nia and Mello are family members of L, and so they find out through another means. So everybody decides they're going to keep L's death a secret, and Light's going to take the position of L now. Now, Nia and Mello want to catch Kira, but they go up against each other to do so, because L is lost and they want to get their vengeance to capture Kira and, you know, kind of put some justice towards their siblings' death. So now Light's sister has been kidnapped because Mello and Nia want the Death Note. So going into volume 8, called Target, we now see that Soricho, who is Light's father, goes to try and make this exchange. Basically, that's what volume 8 is about. And Light plans that the team will follow and shadow his father to make sure of his safety and his sister's safety. But the flight is intercepted by Mello's men, and the exchange is made by Mello. And another Death Note is now in the human world. Sido is the owner of this Death Note and must shadow the person who has it. Mello has now blackmailed the President of the United States of America, but Light uses this for information and gets a force from the President, like an army force, on his side. Mello figures out that the 13-day rule is a fake rule, but he wants to be certain of it before anything goes into place. As well as because Light has also put a new rule in there that if the Death Note is burnt, that the person will be killed as well. And he figures out that that might be a fake rule too. And then we find out that Light is engaged to Misa to stop her from being a public figure. She's now retired to get engaged to Light and be his wife, and he does that basically to get her out of the public eye so that people can't see that she's a Death Note holder if they're Death Note holders. Going on to volume 9, which is called Contact, Misa pretends to be Kira for a while so that Light doesn't have to use a Death Note while people are watching him. Kira's Death Note has now fallen into the hands of Mello, and the police force have got to help Kira get that Death Note back, but they are going to keep the Death Note. Soichiro, who is Light's father, decides to make the exchange for the eyes of the Shinigami, so that he can see the people and write their names on the Death Note. And this goes on to Soichiro finally meeting Mello, but he won't kill him. He tries to give him a chance to make everything better and hand everything over. But then when they meet, obviously Soichiro sees the true name of Mello. One of the people that have died is behind him, but he's only pretended to be dead. So he crawls across and shoots Sorcio before he can write his name in the Death Note. And then they kind of escape, and Sorcio soon dies in the hospital before he can tell anybody Mello's true name. Sidho finally gets his own Death Note back and returns to the Shinigami realm. And then, because the President of the United States has died at this point, the Vice President shows his support for Kira because of his fear for Kira. And then a TV show appears called Kira's Kingdom, and there is a hell of a lot of support for Kira now because people want criminals dead and they feel like the world is getting better because of it. So going on to volume 10, which is called Deletion, we are introduced to a new character called Teru Mikami. He receives a death note from Kira, who he sees as his god. But at first, when he first receives this death note, he sees himself as deleting people from the world who shouldn't be around. He kills people from school. He ends up killing his own mother. And then you see, after you see this big scene from his perspective, you go back to Light and he meets his girlfriend from university whose name is Yaomi Takada. And she is a secret supporter of Kira. And then they kind of get speaking, and this is how he finally gets messages over to Mikami. So moving on to volume 11. The volume 11 is called Kindred Spirits, and Nia finds out that Mikami might be another Kira, so he calls him like ex-Kira. Misa is now kidnapped by Nia, and Mikami is being spied on by a man called Giovanni who is working for Nia, and takes pictures of all the pages in his Death Note. Light and Nia are now going to meet each other, and a date is set, a place is set, and a time is set, and it's all going to happen. And Light tells Takada about this, who in turn is going to tell Mikami about this. So Mikami does have the Shinigami eyes and can see all of what's going on, as I said before. And then we get into volume 12, which is called Finis, meaning finish basically. Takada is kidnapped by Mello and held in a place where nobody can find her. And then everything from there takes place in the warehouse where Mello and Light are going to meet. After 30 minutes inside, because Mello has decided that they need 30 minutes to make sure nobody dies, to make sure nobody in there is Kira. Ex-Kira does arrive and peeks through the door to find out everybody's names, and he starts writing them into his Death Note on one of the pages of his Death Note. And then they wait 40 seconds to see if anybody dies, and nobody dies. And we find out that Mello has had his Death Note either switched, or he found out which page he would use on this day and put some fake pages in the Death Note, so that nobody written on those pages would die, whether it's a fake Death Note or the real one. After those 40 seconds, Light shouts to see if Mikami has actually written the names down, and he says, "Yes, God." And he comes in and he's arrested, and the Death Note's taken away from him, and they find out that Light's name isn't written in there, and that's how they realise that he is definitely Kira. And Light then admits to being Kira and that he thinks he's winning, and then he changes his words and says that he's been set up by Nia, and that Nia is sitting there and he's set him up and making everybody believe that he's Kira. And then he tries to escape and Mogi handcuffs him. And then they find out that Takadi is dead because Mikami has written her name in the Death Note as well. So she's now dead as well. And then Light tries to convince them that he is a god, that he's Kira, that he should be around, and that everybody should support him. And then Light takes the piece of Death Note out of his watch that I mentioned earlier, starts writing down Nia's name, and Matsuda shoots Light to stop him from writing the name, but then he starts writing it in his blood, and he shoots him again and stops him from doing it, and that kind of stuff. And basically Light asks Ryuk if he can write Nia's name in the Death Note? And Ryuk says yes, but he doesn't write his name, he writes Light's name and then tells Light that he's written his name, only just to watch Light suffer the last 40 seconds of his life. Yeah, that's the ending of Death Note. But then you get another little chapter that takes place like 2 years later on. There's a team together, still in the police force, and one of the police force members has now become the new L. They've got a job to go on to, a meeting to take place, and everything's going on as normal. They're talking about if they made the right decision to kill Light instead of take him in for custody and all that kind of stuff. And then at the very, very end, you see some hooded figures walking up some mountains, and they part to let a woman through who is also hooded. And the last words of the story is, "Kira, our saviour." So there are so many supporters still out there wanting Kira to kill the criminals and make the world a better place again. So yeah, that's Death Note, and I actually really, really enjoyed it. It was a wonderful experience reading this manga, and it was just really interesting to see how a character gaining such a powerful weapon in the world can turn from such an intelligent young man, and he turns out to be a mass murderer because of this device, thinking that he's a god. A crazy incident that could happen if the Death Note did fall into the world. This would probably happen and drive a person insane. So it's really interesting to see how it would work. I really, really enjoyed the whole love interest in this story. That Light had no interest at all in these girls. He just wanted to use them for his own gain, to be able to kill these criminals. And so it's very, very interesting to see all of that. And I also liked how he was working against himself throughout the entire story and making it work and making a plot out of it. It's very, very interesting to see this character deteriorate at the end, for everything go wrong for him, and basically the plot goes the way it goes. And it was just an absolutely wonderful read. I would recommend this manga to anybody who likes this kind of psychological mystery detective kind of thing. I would really, really recommend it for those kind of people out there. So the next series video I will be putting up is one about the series of unfortunate events. I am currently on the last book, The End, by Lemony Snicket. So when I finish this, there will be a video about these books, and I will see you guys in my next video. I really, really hope you like this one. I'll see you soon. Bye bye.